I was standing there holding the phone, staring at the message thread that wasn't supposed to exist. My wife's name at the top, but the words weren't meant for me. The picture she had sent was of the restaurant she claimed to have booked for our anniversary. Except the timestamp said it was taken 2 days earlier, and the message beneath it wasn't addressed to me. It was addressed to someone I never expected to see in this kind of conversation. The problem hit me like a steel pipe across the chest. My wife wasn't planning an anniversary surprise for me. She was planning something for him. The pain came next, a kind of heat that started in my throat and settled behind my ribs, squeezing hard enough that I had to force myself to breathe. I scrolled up. There he was, a name I trusted more than I should have. A man who'd eaten at my table, watched football with me, even helped me build the shed in the backyard. I felt my knees go weak. The solution flickered through my head like a spark in the dark. I wasn't sure how I would do it yet, but I knew one thing. Tonight wouldn't go the way she thought it would. I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here watching my whole life burn down on a screen. Let me take you back to when it all started. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have paid more attention to the small things. The way she smiled when she talked about her coworkers. The way she held her phone a little tighter some nights. But before all that, before the cracks, before the doubt, things were good. Better than good. We met when we were 24. I was working as a project coordinator at a commercial HVAC company, watching my savings grow slow and steady, thinking maybe one day I'd own a small shop of my own. She, Emily, worked at a dental office as a receptionist. She always joked she picked that job because she liked seeing people come in scared and leave relieved. She had a way of making things sound simple and warm. That was what drew me in. Our first date was cheap Mexican food and a drive around town. We talked about everything, dreams, childhoods, the kind of house we wanted someday. She wanted a kitchen with white cabinets and a little herb garden by the window. I wanted a garage with a workbench and space to build things. We laughed at how easy it was to picture all of it together. Love came fast. Trust came even faster. Maybe too fast. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized trust without boundaries isn't trust. It's blind faith. We got married 3 years later. Nothing fancy. Small church, close family, cheap catering. She cried when she walked down the aisle. I believed every tear meant forever. We bought our first house 2 years in. A 3-bedroom ranch-style place in a quiet neighborhood. Mortgage was $1,450 a month at a fixed 4.2% rate. I know that number by heart because I took pride in making every payment on time. We had our first kid, Noah, when I was 31, and our second, Hannah, 2 years later. My whole world narrowed into this picture of steady mornings. Packed lunches, soccer games, birthday parties, and scraped knees. I didn't care about travel or nightlife or fancy things. I cared about coming home to my family. That was enough. Contentment settled in so naturally I didn't notice when the first tiny cracks appeared. It started with her job. She got promoted from receptionist to office manager. I was proud. She worked hard and she deserved it. But with the promotion came later hours, more weekend meetings, and suddenly her phone was always buzzing. I didn't think much of it at first. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have asked why she was smiling at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The first time I felt something odd was when she mentioned a coworker named Mark. She talked about him the way you talk about a well-meaning older brother. He was helpful, she said, always there to answer questions. I met him once at a holiday gathering. He was polite, maybe mid-40s tall, with the kind of handshake that tried too hard. But something about him never sat right. Not because he seemed like a flirt, honestly he didn't. But because he seemed like the type of man who liked being needed. The type who liked stepping into spaces where he didn't belong. But the real twist didn't come from him. Not at first. Around the time our oldest turned 17, Emily started spending more time at the gym. At first it made perfect sense. She had always cared about staying healthy, running, yoga, all that. But now it was different. This was a new gym, far from her office, with personal training sessions 3 times a week. I remember thinking, good for her. She's taking care of herself. But then the tiny crack grew. One day, she came home and said her trainer recommended she join a small group fitness class. She started going every Tuesday and Thursday. I fully supported it. I even offered to join her once. She shut that down fast, saying she needed me time. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have asked why her me time required makeup and perfume. The doubt came slow, like fog rolling in at night. There wasn't one thing, just a collection of tiny things. Late texts, quick phone flips, new clothes, mysterious receipts from places she never mentioned. I tried to talk myself out of it. Men, we've given too many years to let this go, keep listening. Then came the first twist. For weeks I thought the affair, if there was one, was happening at the gym. Some trainer, some new guy she met in class. But the almost caught moment revealed something else entirely. One Thursday evening, her class got canceled due to a power outage. I found out because the gym sent a mass text. I had used her number when helping her set up the membership. She didn't know that. When the text came through, I figured she'd be home early. 2 hours passed. No sign of her. I called. No answer. That twisting feeling in my gut turned sharp. I drove to the gym anyway. Closed. Dark. Empty. I checked the parking lot, and that's when I saw her car pull in from the opposite side. She wasn't coming from the direction of the gym. She saw my truck and froze. Her eyes went wide like a kid caught sneaking out. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "I got the text," I said. "Class was canceled." She hesitated. "Oh yeah, I didn't see it. I was already on my way, so I just took a drive." She was lying. I could hear it. But before I could press, someone else pulled in behind her. A familiar car. A familiar shape. I felt the air leave my lungs. It wasn't the trainer. It wasn't someone from the gym. It was Tom, my best friend, my fishing buddy, my backyard beer partner, my son's baseball assistant coach. He saw us, realized what he'd walked into, and sped off so fast he almost hit the curb. "Ist der hier?" She stared at me, and she said the line that should have told me everything. "That wasn't what it looked like. Tell me in the comments, when would you have snapped?" But I didn't snap. Not yet. Because something about Tom being there didn't make sense. He had a wife, kids, a decent life. He wasn't the type to risk it all. And the look on his face when he saw us wasn't guilt. It was fear. Not of being caught cheating. Of something else. The doubt grew into obsession. I started checking phone records, bank statements, calendar entries. I noticed patterns. Tuesdays and Thursdays weren't just gym days. They were the days Tom's wife worked late shifts at the hospital. I looked deeper, and that's when I found the second twist, the one at 60% that flipped everything upside down. It wasn't an affair. Not yet. It was money. Emily had opened a separate checking account. She'd been moving small amounts into it for over a year. $10 here, 20 there, then bigger ones. 100, 200, a few times 500. All from our joint account. The one tied to the mortgage, the college funds, the 401k contributions. She had drained over $12,000. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized people don't hide money unless they're planning to hide something bigger. Stay till the very end. Because what happened next still keeps me up at night. I didn't confront her right away. I wasn't ready. Not because I was scared of the truth, but because I needed the whole picture. Men make their worst mistakes when they react too fast. I wasn't going to give her the chance to flip the script, to cry, to confuse me. I wanted facts. Hard ones. So I spent the next week watching her patterns. Tuesday, Thursday, always the same routine. Always the same excuses. Always the same car pulling out of the neighborhood around the same time. But it wasn't Tom's car she followed. Sometimes she went left, toward downtown. Other times she went right, toward the business parks. It didn't make sense until I connected the money transfers. Then it all snapped into place. Every transfer, every dollar she moved into that hidden account, matched a personal withdrawal Tom had made over the past year. I cross-checked his social media, his fishing trips with me, dinners with his family, random selfies. On the days he spent money, Emily did too. The same days. Sometimes the same exact timestamps. It wasn't cheating, at least not then. It was something else. Something coordinated. Something secret. Then came the second almost caught moment. She forgot her phone at home. It was early morning. She was rushing out the door, hair half done, purse swinging from her shoulder. She kissed me on the cheek and bolted. I didn't even notice she'd left it behind until it buzzed on the counter 10 minutes later. A single message preview lit up the screen. Same time today? Need to finish the last step before Friday. No name, just a number. My heart jumped. My throat tightened. Friday was our anniversary. I picked up the phone. I stared at it. I wanted to unlock it more than I've ever wanted anything. But I didn't know her passcode. Or at least I didn't think I did. Then something hit me. She always said she used numbers that meant something sentimental. Birthdays, anniversaries, ages of our kids. I tried the year we got married. Rejected. I tried Noah's birthday. Rejected. I tried Hannah's. Rejected. Then I tried something I never thought I'd consider. Her late mother's birthday. The phone unlocked instantly. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized she wasn't holding on to her mother's memory. She was hiding behind it. The messages opened automatically. And the thread wasn't with Tom. It wasn't with a trainer. It wasn't with a coworker. It was with someone far worse. It was with my brother, Luke. I felt the blood drain out of my face. My knees almost buckled right there in the kitchen. Luke was the last person alive I would have suspected. He was always the irresponsible one growing up, the one who borrowed money he didn't pay back, the one who made promises he never kept. But he was still my brother. And no matter how messy he was, he had never crossed the line with family. At least I thought he hadn't. As I scrolled, the truth hit me like a freight train. The money wasn't for dates or secret gifts. It wasn't for fancy hotels or weekend trips. It was something else entirely. Something bigger. Something that made my head spin. They were funneling money into a business. A business I'd never heard of. A business they planned to launch together after the anniversary surprise. I read that phrase over and over.
Anniversary surprise.
The title of the plan she had scribbled down in her notes app matched the name of one of the message threads. Anniversary plan, final steps. For a second, a stupid, hopeful thought crossed my mind. Maybe it was something sweet. Maybe it was something for us. Maybe all of this was leading to a heartfelt gesture. But the next message shattered that hope. From Luke. Once he signs the papers on Friday, we're set. He won't fight it. He trusts you. From Emily. I know. I just need him relaxed. The reservation is booked. After dinner, he'll sign anything. My vision blurred. My hands shook. A low buzzing sound filled my ears like white noise. She wasn't planning an affair. She was planning to take the house. The savings. The investments. Everything. And she was planning to make me sign it over willingly, thinking it was some kind of anniversary formality. A refinance. A new account. A harmless paper disguised with romantic timing. My own brother was helping her prepare it. Stay till the very end. Because what happened next still keeps me up at night. I dug deeper into the messages. They had been meeting for months. Not romantically, though the undertones were wrong enough to make my skin crawl, but with one intention, to open a wellness studio together. Something about yoga, meal plans, personal training, supplements. They wanted to use our house as collateral for a business loan because her credit alone wasn't strong enough. Luke didn't have any credit at all. They needed me. She was planning to use me as the anchor for her dream, while cutting me out of the picture completely. Tell me in the comments, when would you have snapped? But I didn't snap. Not yet, because one last message stopped me cold. From Emily to Luke. He won't see it coming. He still thinks the anniversary dinner is for him. I felt something break inside. Not a small crack. Not a hairline fracture. A snap. The kind you don't come back from. This was no misunderstanding. No careless mistake. No emotion el drift. This was betrayal at the deepest level. A betrayal of my marriage, my trust, my future, my children's security. And by my own brother. Numbness washed over me next. The kind where you know if you move too fast you'll fall apart. I took a long breath. Then another. If I had known then what I know now, I would have realized she wasn't just planning a surprise. She was planning an exit. And she wanted to walk out with everything. But I wasn't going to let her. Men, we've given too many years to let things like this slide. So I made a decision right there, staring at her phone glowing on the counter. I was going to let her think the plan was working. I was going to let her believe I was clueless. And on Friday, the anniversary she thought she controlled, I would take back everything she tried to steal. So I set her phone back on the counter, face down, exactly the way she left it. Not a single app left open. Not a single notification cleared. I wasn't going to tip her off. I needed her to stick to the plan. I needed her to believe I'd walk right into whatever trap she and Luke had built. Because if I confronted her too early, she'd just twist it. She'd cry. She'd shake. She'd claim she was planning something sweet. And Luke would disappear like smoke, leaving me standing alone with nothing but suspicion and no proof. I couldn't risk that. Not when the stakes were our home, our retirement, our kids' future. Our mortgage had 18 years left on it. We refinanced 3 years ago at a lower rate. Every document was in both our names. Our 401(k)s were intertwined. Our kids' college funds, those were my pride. I hadn't missed a contribution in 15 years. The thought that she wanted to latch those to some wellness studio with my brother made my stomach twist. If I'd known then what I know now, I might have stopped pretending. I might have wrapped my arms around myself and found a way to tell the kids gently. But I didn't know how deep the hole went. I didn't know the worst parts yet. Emily came home that afternoon smiling like everything was perfect. She wrapped her arms around me, kissed my cheek, asked about my day. I played along. I forced a smile. Felt strange, pretending in my own home, but I did it because I had to. She never suspected anything. The next few days were a blur of acting. Laughing when I didn't want to laugh. Nodding when she talked about small things. Pretending to sleep while she whispered to someone outside on the porch. I listened to every word. Pretending to pack for a date night I knew was meant to ruin me. The second almost caught moment came 2 days before the anniversary. It was a Thursday evening. I was supposed to be working late, at least that's what she thought. But I had come home early to grab a folder I needed for what I was planning. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw a car parked 2 houses down. Luke's. I froze. I shut off the engine and waited. The porch light flicked on. Then it flicked off. The front door cracked open, just a sliver. I saw her arm first, then his. My gut twisted. They weren't touching, but they were close. Too close. Whispering. Checking something on a clipboard. Clipboard. That was worse than anything romantic could have been. Paperwork. She noticed the time then. Her voice panicked. He'll be home soon. I slipped low in my seat, barely breathing. They stepped outside. Luke walked fast toward his car. Emily followed him halfway and whispered something I couldn't make out. Then she hugged him. Quick. Tight. Familiar. He didn't hug back fully, but he didn't pull away either. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles whitened. If she had turned her head even an inch, she would have seen my truck. She would have seen me sitting there, watching. But she didn't. She walked back inside. Luke drove off, and I waited 10 minutes before pretending to pull in like everything was normal. If you've ever laid awake at 3 a.m. wondering if you're crazy, you know this feeling. I kept replaying the hug in my head. Over and over. Was it romantic? Was it guilt? Was it excitement for the business? No matter how many ways I tried to look at it, it all felt wrong. At dinner that night, she talked about our anniversary like it was magical. She told me to wear something nice. She said the reservation was special. She said she had a surprise planned that would change everything. She had no idea she was the one walking into the surprise. Friday came fast. Too fast. I barely slept the night before. My mind was moving like a machine, every piece lining up, every detail falling into place. I double-checked my plan, the documents I had prepared, the calls I had made. It was all timing. Perfect timing. The kids were both out that night, one at work, one at a friend's place. So it was just us. Just the way she wanted it. Emily got dressed slowly, smiling in the mirror. She wore a navy dress I bought her 2 anniversaries ago. She came out looking stunning. Radiant. The kind of beauty that once made me fall to my knees metaphorically. The kind of beauty I thought was mine. The kind of beauty I thought was loyal. But beauty means nothing when the heart behind it rots. I told her she looked amazing, because she did. And the words didn't taste like lies. They tasted like goodbye. We drove to the restaurant she'd chosen. She talked nonstop, nervous, excited, giggling like a teenager. I nodded, answered casually, kept my breathing steady. The place was fancy. White tablecloths, dim lights, the kind of place we only went to for big occasions. She held my hand across the table, squeezing it like she loved me more than anything. She ordered wine. She insisted I drink more than usual. "It's our anniversary," she said. "Relax. Enjoy." But I didn't sip more than enough to keep her convinced. Halfway through the meal, she said the words that confirmed everything. "I brought something for you to sign tonight," she said softly. "Something for our future." Our future. My stomach tightened. She reached into her purse. But before she could pull out the folder, the waiter approached. She froze and slid it back inside. She smiled at me. Sweet. Innocent. Fake. I'd seen enough. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized she was more scared than she let on. She didn't know the trap had already closed around her. After dinner, I suggested a walk. The cool night air was perfect for a little stroll to digest. She smiled, thinking she was still in control, still playing the game she thought I couldn't see. We walked down the quiet streets of our neighborhood, leaves crunching under our feet, lights glowing in windows, neighbors waving from driveways. Perfectly normal, perfectly deceptive. When we returned, I handed her a small envelope. She looked confused, then curious. "What's this?" she asked, tilting her head. "Just something I found while cleaning up the house," I said calmly. "Thought you might want to see it." She opened it. Her eyes went wide instantly. The papers inside were copies of every single message, every transfer, every plan she and Luke had made. I had printed them, annotated, highlighted, everything. Ironclad proof. No excuses. No interpretations. "No, it's not what it looks like. Line would work now." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. What is this?" she stammered, her voice trembling. "This," I said quietly, "is our anniversary surprise. You thought you were clever, didn't you?" She backed up, looking around the room as if the walls themselves had betrayed her. It's not what you think." I raised a hand, cutting her off. "Not what I think. Emily, I have everything. I know about the money, I know about the plan, I know about Luke. Do you have any idea what that feels like? To trust someone, to build a life, and to find out they're plotting behind your back with your own brother." Her eyes filled with tears, but they were not the kind that redeem. They were calculating tears, tears trying to plead, to bargain, to confuse me. I refused to give her the satisfaction. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized tears aren't proof of love. They're proof of strategy. She tried to reach for me. I stepped back. "Stay there," I said. "Not another step." Her phone buzzed. She instinctively checked it. "Luke." She was frozen. I could see the panic in her eyes. "I can't believe you did this," she whispered. "You did this," I said. "To us, to the house, to the kids' future." We sat there in silence for a few long seconds. Then the phone buzzed again. Another message from Luke. I picked it up without her noticing, tapped open the thread. "Everything okay?" he wrote. "Not exactly," she typed back, shaking. I saved the messages. Screenshots. Every word. Then I had a decision to make. I could handle this privately. Go to lawyers, sort out finances, take back what she tried to steal. Or I could make sure everyone she knew, everyone she trusted, witnessed the betrayal. Public exposure. Hedged. Family group chats. Mutual friends. I chose the latter. The next hour was a blur. Screenshots. Emails. Posts. Text messages. I curated everything carefully. Every lie. Every plan. Every hidden dollar. I wanted no room for doubt. Finally, I hit send. And waited. Within minutes, phones were buzzing. Group chats lighting up. Notifications rolling in. Friends, family, even some of her coworkers, all reading the messages, all seeing the proof. Her live reaction was cinematic. She went from shock to denial to pleading to rage, all within a matter of minutes. "Abuser, you can't do this. This isn't fair," she screamed, pacing our living room. "Fair," I echoed. "This is called truth, Emily. You've stolen from me, from the kids, from our future. And now everyone knows. You made your choice." The fallout was immediate. Messages from relatives, comments from friends, some supportive, some shocked, some angry on my behalf. "Never trust them blindly," one cousin wrote. "I can't believe Luke," a friend commented. "You're braver than most men would be," another message read. And there she was, standing in the center of it all, phone in hand, watching the notifications pile up, realizing her carefully plotted anniversary plan had exploded in her face. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized that timing matters. That the perfect moment to expose betrayal is not when you feel rage, but when you can maximize truth and impact. The final twist came unexpectedly. As the dust settled, Emily's lawyer called. She hadn't anticipated the public exposure. She hadn't planned for anyone to see the full story. She tried to negotiate, to demand privacy, to make me feel guilty. But the documents, screenshots, and messages were irrefutable. And here's the kicker. Luke, my brother, panicked. In a last-ditch effort, he tried to claim he had no part in any of it, that I had misread messages. The irony? Screenshots with timestamps proved otherwise. Every message, every transaction, every plan he couldn't wiggle out. I watched as the people she trusted turned against her. I watched as the lie unraveled. And in that moment, after years of love, trust, contentment, doubt, obsession, suspicion, ironclad proof, gut-wrenching betrayal, numbness, and rage, I finally felt a cold sense of justice. Ice-cold revenge without violence, without drama beyond reality, without destruction beyond the consequences she earned. The house, the accounts, the future, all secured. Emily and Luke faced the reality of their actions. Mutual friends distanced themselves. The kids were shaken but relieved to see transparency finally. And the last layer of the twist? Emily's plan to manipulate our anniversary to steal everything failed completely. Public exposure ensured there was no second chance. No escape hatch, no redemption without accountability. And as the night ended, I sat back, alone, but not broken, stronger, clear-eyed, vindicated. The betrayal was real. The lessons were harsh. But the future? Mine to rebuild. If the story hit you square in the chest like it did me while living it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Because the next betrayal I tell might just save you from living it yourself. The morning after the exposure, the house felt different. Too quiet, almost sterile. The air was heavy with the remnants of tension, and the sunlight that streamed through the windows couldn't touch it. I walked through the kitchen, coffee in hand, and noticed the remnants of her betrayal in small ways. Her purse untouched, the folded navy dress from last night still on the chair, the open folder with messages and screenshots I hadn't yet archived. It was surreal, almost cinematic, the calm after a storm that had torn through our lives. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized that silence could be as loud as betrayal. Emily came down a few hours later. She didn't look at me directly. Her eyes were red, streaked with mascara, and her hair was a mess. She clutched her phone like a lifeline, scrolling frantically, probably hoping for any sign that the fallout could be reversed. I didn't say a word. There was no need. Her own reflection told the story. Panic, shame, disbelief. The first words out of her mouth were tentative, almost fragile. "Abuser? Can we talk?" I set my cup down. My hands didn't shake anymore. The numbness had faded, replaced by a cold, steady clarity. "We can," I said. "But there's nothing to talk about that you haven't already said or done." She flinched. I didn't mean for it to get this far." "You didn't mean for it?" I repeated slowly, letting the words hang in the air. "Emily, you planned to steal from me. From the house, from the retirement funds, from the kids' future. You used our anniversary as a cover. You plotted this with my brother. And now everyone knows. The truth doesn't need your excuse. Her face contorted, first in denial, then rage. You don't understand. I was trying to build something. A business. A future. I shook my head. A future without me. A future where I didn't exist. That's not building, it's erasing. And you didn't just risk your own reputation. You risked ours and the trust we built over 2 decades. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized ambition without respect is nothing but betrayal. She sank into a chair, muttering under her breath. I didn't rush her. I let her stew in the consequences she had created. Watching her unravel, watching the threads she thought she controlled slip through her fingers, was a justice far more satisfying than any argument or confrontation could provide. The kids came home later that day. Noah first, then Hannah. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide as they scanned the living room, the folder on the table, the lingering tension in the air. Mom? Dad? Noah asked cautiously, his voice tight. What happened? I gestured to the folder. Look for yourself, I said. I think it's better you see the truth than hear a story half told. Emily looked at them, panic rising again. Kids, it's not. I can explain. No, I interrupted gently but firmly. This isn't a story to sugarcoat. This is real life. And you deserve the truth. Noah picked up a printout, scanning the messages. His hands trembled slightly. Hannah leaned over his shoulder. Mom, is this true? She whispered. Emily's lips quivered. She opened her mouth, then closed it. She had nothing left to say. Her plan, which she thought would unfold like a romantic twist, had been obliterated by transparency. The kids looked at her with eyes I hadn't seen since they were toddlers. Eyes full of betrayal, confusion, and hurt. The rest of the day was tense. I spent it consolidating accounts, changing passwords, securing documents, and making calls to ensure no further attempts could be made to siphon money or manipulate assets. Every phone call, every click of the mouse was a small reclaiming of control. The anger I had felt before had turned into focus. Cold, deliberate, methodical. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized revenge isn't about yelling or breaking things. It's about making sure the consequences match the crime. By evening, the public exposure had escalated. Messages on family group chats, social media comments, and even a viral thread on a small Reddit subreddit were pouring in. People were shocked, angry, supportive. Some shared their own experiences, some offered advice, some simply expressed disbelief. Emily's lawyer called, pleading for discretion. She tried to have posts taken down, messages deleted, stories retracted. Too late. The screenshots were everywhere. Copies had been downloaded, shared, saved. The story wasn't going anywhere. I watched her phone buzz incessantly. Her expression shifted from panic to desperation. Abuser, please, she said softly, almost begging. Please, don't do this publicly. Let me fix this. I smiled coldly. You fixed it. You fixed everything you touched. The next morning, Luke called. I didn't answer. Instead, I let the call go to voicemail. He left a shaky message, voice cracking. Abuser, I didn't know she'd go this far. I can explain. I saved the message. It would come in handy later. Evidence. Ironclad. The following week, I worked with a lawyer to untangle the financial web. Every hidden account, every transfer, every plan she had concocted with Luke was documented. Assets were secured. Retirement funds were protected. College accounts untouched. Mortgage remained in my name with full control. I was meticulous. She wanted an anniversary surprise to trap me. I gave her accountability. Meanwhile, Emily attempted to manipulate family members. She tried to spin the story as a misunderstanding, a moment of weakness, a miscommunication. But the facts were unassailable. Screenshots, bank statements, timestamps, messages, all lined up perfectly. People who had initially been shocked were now siding against her. Even some friends who were neutral admitted that her plan was cruel, deceitful, and manipulative. Noah and Hannah, after initial hurt, started to see clarity. They leaned on me, asked questions, vented anger. We talked long into the night. About trust. About love. About boundaries. About deception. About the importance of protecting yourself, even from those closest to you. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized that parenting sometimes means shielding your children from betrayal, but also teaching them to face it with courage. Days turned into weeks. Emily's attempts at reconciliation became more desperate. She reached out to mutual friends, emailed apologies, tried to bribe silence. Nothing worked. The internet, social media, and family circles were relentless. Transparency had become her undoing. The public had seen her actions. The consequences were real, tangible, and unavoidable. Then came the final twist. One evening, I received an anonymous message. It was short, "Check your mailbox." Curious, I went. There was an envelope unmarked. Inside, photographs. Photos of Emily and Luke. In the same room, documents spread across the table, laughing like partners in crime. But one photo caught my eye. Emily looking directly at the camera, smirk barely concealed, with the folder labeled "Anniversary Plan," "Final Steps," clearly visible. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized that even when you think the game is over, the players sometimes leave evidence behind like a signature, an echo of their arrogance. I shared the photo publicly. It went viral within hours. Comments flooded in. People were shocked, disgusted, supportive, outraged. Emily's live reaction was priceless in a morbid way. She screamed. She tried to delete it. She pleaded with everyone watching, but the damage was permanent. The fallout was complete. Luke's marriage suffered. Emily's credibility and reputation evaporated. Her attempts at emotional manipulation failed completely. The house, the finances, the future of my children, all intact. Justice, as cold and methodical as I had orchestrated, had been served. Weeks later, I sat alone in the living room. Quiet. Finally quiet. The storm had passed. The betrayal was fully revealed, publicly documented, and dealt with appropriately. I reflected on the journey. Love, trust, contentment, tiny cracks, doubt, obsession, suspicion, ironclad proof, gut-wrenching betrayal, numbness, rage, ice-cold revenge, public exposure, unexpected fallout, and final closure. Every stage had been lived, every lesson learned. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized that betrayal teaches you more than any love ever could. It shows the strength you never thought you had, the clarity of focus you never imagined possible, and the ability to rise, even when the people you trusted most try to burn you alive. I had survived the fake anniversary plan. I had reclaimed my life. And while the wounds remained, the future was mine to rebuild. Stronger, wiser, and free from the illusions that had nearly cost me everything. Friday evening came again, a week after the initial exposure. The anniversary she had meticulously planned, the one she thought would be her ticket to everything she wanted, was now just a mark on the calendar. Emily moved through the house cautiously, like she was stepping on thin ice, aware that every move she made could be observed, recorded, or used against her. She glanced at me several times, eyes darting with uncertainty, and I returned each look with calm, measured attention. Nothing more.
No anger, no pitch, no simpate.
Just observation. The kids were out again. Noah at a friend's house. Hannah working a shift at her part-time job. Perfect. Isolation. Just the way she had wanted it for her original plan. But I had plans of my own. She approached me in the living room, her movements hesitant, slow, calculated. "Abuser," she said softly, trying to sound sweet, almost innocent. "Can we talk?" I nodded. "Sure." "About what?" "About everything," she murmured. "The money, the house, the accounts. I want to fix this. I want to make it right." I leaned back in the chair, arms folded. Calm, collected, ice cold. "You've already done what you wanted. The difference now is everyone knows. Your plan to manipulate, deceive, and steal has been exposed. You can't fix this, Emily. You only get to face the consequences." Her face flushed with panic. Please, abuser. The kids. They've already seen the truth, I interrupted. They know exactly who you are and what you did. And you know what? That's for the best. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized that betrayal isn't something you can apologize away. You have to earn your way back with actions, not words. Her shoulders slumped, and she sank into the sofa. She stared at me, her face pale, mascara streaked, eyes wide with a mix of fear and disbelief. The woman who had once plotted my downfall was now completely exposed, stripped of the confidence and control she had wielded so masterfully. I pulled out my phone and, without a word, opened a video chat window. I think it's time the world sees your anniversary surprise, don't you? I said. Her face went white. Abuser, you wouldn't. I pressed play. The video was a compilation of everything. Screenshots of messages between her and Luke, the money transfers, her plans for the wellness studio, timestamps, everything annotated. I had even added commentary to clarify exactly what was being done and who was involved. Within minutes, the video was shared publicly. Family group chats lit up. Social media notifications poured in. People were shocked, angry, supportive. The comments were relentless. I can't believe she would do this. Your husband is a saint for handling this so calmly. Luke. Really? That's unbelievable. Her phone blew up with notifications. Texts, emails, calls. She dropped it on the coffee table, staring at the screen in horror. She tried to delete some messages, some notifications, but it was too late. The digital footprint was permanent. I watched, calm, observing every reaction. This was the climax. This was the moment she had unknowingly walked into. Ice-cold revenge delivered not with violence, but with truth, precision, and timing. Then came the final twist. Emily's lawyer called, desperate. Abuser, please, this is defamation. You can't post this publicly. I smiled. These aren't lies. These are documented facts. Screenshots, bank records, messages. Everything you planned, everything Luke was part of, is here. Nothing defamatory about exposing your betrayal. She tried to intervene herself, calling friends, relatives, anyone she thought might plead her case. But by now, her credibility was gone. People didn't just doubt her. They saw her as untrustworthy, manipulative, and calculated. Even some of her closest friends began to withdraw support. The kids came home mid-evening. They saw the aftermath. Messages, notifications, emails, and Emily's stunned, panicked face. Noah looked at me, eyes wide, and whispered, "Dad, it's all true?" I nodded. All of it. And now you see why honesty matters. Why trust is everything. Why manipulation and deception can destroy lives. Hannah shook her head slowly, tears forming. I can't believe, Mom, and Luke, our family. Emily tried to speak, but the words faltered. She had no ground to stand on, no defense, nothing but exposure, shame, and consequences. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized that betrayal never just affects the betrayer and the betrayed. It ripples outward, touching everyone who loves both. The kids learned it firsthand. I made sure they did. As night fell, Emily retreated to her room. She didn't speak to anyone. She didn't try to defend herself anymore. The calm after the storm settled over the house. The air was heavy but clear, like after a hurricane leaves a quiet, empty street behind. I felt the weight of what had happened, the anger, the betrayal, the revenge, but also a strange sense of relief. Justice had been served. The plan she thought would ruin me had crumbled under its own weight. In the days that followed, the fallout continued. Luke's involvement became public knowledge within certain circles. Family members who had trusted him were shocked. The kids' college funds remained untouched. Our retirement accounts were secure. The house remained ours. Every financial consequence she had hoped to manipulate in her favor had failed. Emily tried to negotiate, to plead, to bribe silence, but the evidence was everywhere. Public exposure ensured that no second chance existed. No manipulation could erase what had been revealed. And in the end, the final twist revealed itself. She had overplayed her hand. Her overconfidence in timing, secrecy, and control had been her undoing. She had counted on me being unaware, distracted, or complacent. But I had anticipated every move, observed every pattern, documented everything meticulously, and executed the exposure at the perfect moment. By the time the weekend rolled around, the house was quiet again. The kids, though shaken, had returned to normal routines. Work resumed. Life, in a strange way, felt like it could move forward. The betrayal had left scars, but it had also left clarity. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have realized that betrayal tests not just love, not just trust, but patience, precision, and the ability to execute justice without losing yourself. It's not about immediate revenge. It's about making sure truth and consequences align perfectly. I spent that Sunday afternoon alone in the living room, thinking through everything. The navy dress from the anniversary dinner still hung neatly in the closet. The folder of messages and documents was safely archived, ready if needed. The house, the accounts, the kids' futures secured. I felt a strange calm, almost serenity. This was the moment where betrayal, rage, and calculated exposure converged into resolution. Emily came out briefly, attempting to speak, but I cut her off politely. Emily, the story is over. The consequences are real. There's nothing left to negotiate here. You have to live with what you did, and so does Luke. I've done my part, and now the rest is on you. Her face registered shock. She had expected either denial or manipulation, maybe tears to sway me. But instead, she got calm authority. Ice-cold, deliberate, unwavering. Justice without violence, without chaos, just consequences. The final lesson was clear. Betrayal is devastating, but methodical, precise, calm exposure ensures that the truth not only survives but prevails. Emily's fake anniversary plan, designed to trick, manipulate, and steal, had backfired spectacularly. Every word, every move, every hidden message was now evidence of her deception. Public exposure had guaranteed accountability. I spent the evening reflecting on everything. The love, the trust, the contentment, the tiny cracks, the doubt, the obsession, the suspicion, the ironclad proof, the gut-wrenching betrayal, the numbness, the rage, the ice-cold revenge, the public exposure, the unexpected fallout. Every stage had been lived, every lesson learned, every consequence exacted. By the end of the night, I sat back, alone but not broken, stronger, wiser, and more vigilant. The betrayal had been real. The consequences had been real. But the future, our future, the kids' future, my future, was mine to rebuild. The storm had passed, leaving clarity, strength, and the knowledge that deception, no matter how carefully planned, cannot outmatch truth executed with precision. If the story hit you square in the chest like it did me while living it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Because the next betrayal I tell might just save you from living it yourself.